How's it going? Today is 16th of December, Monday, and we're gonna be taking a look at a market, what kind of opportunities you can find. In the first video, there's gonna be so many articles that we have to cover. That will be some of these partnerships, including Norway, Japan. From there, we're gonna be progressing to contractual agreement potentially. I have read it yesterday, different article, but let's try to understand government's press release. From there, we're going to be taking a look at control of different regions and how perhaps some of that control will be passed on to local governments. From there, we can take a look at intellectual property office, environment, as well as we can touch on armed forces and current trends, right? Since a lot of service personnel when it comes to military are leaving, current trend is about 300 people leaving a month. Perhaps we can take a look at what government is doing to address this kind of trend. But first, let's take a look at UK and Norway join forces to seize green industrial opportunities. Would be very important. Most likely, Norway is doing a lot. Myself, would like to understand a little bit more. Would Norway focus on the shipbuilding? Would Norway would diversify its portfolio to perhaps development of engines and with alternative energy sources, perhaps not necessarily batteries, but perhaps alternative engines? Or would the Norway stick with shipbuilding industry, right? Who knows? Norway is gonna be definitely gonna be doing something, right? Anyway, UK and Norway join forces to seize green industrial opportunities. That will be ambitious new green industrial partnership will seize enhance cooperation across a range of sectors, including future clean energy innovations. We were taking a look at nuclear. Norway can do it, but are they interested in pursuing nuclear? If that would be energy production, right? Ambitious new green industrial partnership will seize and enhance cooperation across a range of sectors, including future clean energy innovation, potential to create thousands of new skilled jobs in the UK, including by seizing on cross-border carbon capture opportunities under North Sea. Okay. Following groundbreaking new deal to build UK's first carbon capture projects in the Northeast. Okay. If we're gonna be taking a look at carbon capture, I'm not that interested. Myself, I would be more interested in other opportunities. But briefly, we can take a look at this article. If it's gonna be carbon capture, we're gonna progress to other opportunities. Just quick recap on the calendar where we are and overall where we were at week 172. Was great week. We have accomplished a lot. We have done a lot of marketing and a lot of research as well. Overall, was great week. We progressed into week 173. I have completed a couple of tasks already, but overall, we're gonna be doing marketing every second day of the week, as well as we're gonna be taking a look at government contracts. UK and Norway are set to launch new green industrial partnership today, 16th of December, today's date, to continue a world-leading capabilities of clean energy, driving economic growth and delivering on the Prime Minister's plan for change. As of UK most important and long-standing energy partner, with Norway as being single biggest supplier of gas after UK continental shelf. The new agreement with two countries have joined ambitiously signed in spring 2025 will support the aim to secure homegrown energy, protecting bill players, protecting bill payers, and put on the track to make Britain clean energy superpower by 2030. The Prime Minister will visit cross-border carbon transport and storage facilities in Norway to see how the benefit of such projects for the UK will reignite industrial heartlands, create jobs, and turbocharge growth for decades to come. Most likely, we're going to be taking a look at, as of now, carbon capture and storage, right? Not that interested. there's so many opportunities of that, right? As well as so many talented people. I hope that everyone would focus on very, very important issues, right? Anyway, in further examples of Norwegian and UK collaboration, today's announcement also comes as a pioneering floating offshore wind farm green. Volt announcement has already front and engineering and law design contracts protected the project based off northeast coast of Scotland is the first major commercial floating wind development in Europe and joint venture between Norwegian and Orgon and UK firm Floating Energy. So those kind of projects are a little bit more interesting, right? I'm gonna skip some information when it comes to carbon capture and storage, right? Today's announcement follows urgent actions taken by the already taken by to deliver one of the missions since July, including lifting onshore wind ban, enabling green British energy, consenting almost 2 gigawatts of nationally significant solar, delivering a record-breaking renewable auction, and kickstarting carbon capture and hydrogen industries in October. Hydrogen industries is something perhaps Norway is also very interested in as much as UK is interested in. So perhaps some of those initiatives would be more of the interest. But anyway, in October, Britain also came first industrial nation to end its 150-year usage of coal to produce power, where they begin auction coal, right? Most likely. We're not necessarily using it, but perhaps we're digging it and selling it. But anyway, since there was some articles in the news articles when it comes to a lot of communities affected by this industry and all change of what government is planning to do, right? It also comes as Norway Statkraft broke ground on Svensk Green grid park in Svensa just days before Prime Minister visits, which will use the carbon technology to improve grid stability and will reduce need to use fossil fuels to power plants. The 70 million investment is one of the pipeline of similar grid stability schemes to be developed in UK. At Statkraft has already today delivered two. The company has already invested 1.4 billion in renewable energy infrastructure in UK. So overall, great work, and hopefully we're gonna see more projects like that, right? Let's take a look at some of the developments when it comes to Japan. That will be UK Science and Innovation Network in Japan support for semiconductors. The UK Science and Innovation Network impact story covering support of semiconductors in Japan. Perhaps we can reach out to you. If there will be contact information, we can reach out to some of the partners and engage in establishing partnerships. But anyway, that will be KNO Japan Semiconductor Partnerships following on from the establishment of the K-Japan Digital Partnership in December 2022. Now making a most of opportunity and now focusing on Japan offered by the Japan's G7 presidency. SIA and Japan played a key supporting role in establishing UK-Japan Semiconductors Partnership. The partnership was announced alongside the Prime Minister's announcement for UK's national semiconductor strategy and included in commitment to joint research and development, industry dialogues, and export mission, as well as setting up a tone for future joint calls between the UK and Japan representative research funding agencies. There are so many initiatives when it comes to Europe and Japan. Hopefully we can see some of those initiatives being matched by UK as well, right? Too many articles, it's so much information to read, but anyway, in December 2002, UK and Japan established UK-Japan Digital Partnership with support from SI and Japan, which outlines service areas in digital technologies where UK and Japan plan to cooperation, including artificial intelligence. Including perhaps they might be interested in taking a look at data sharing when it comes to Japan and how they would train some of those systems, right? Since there might be some partnerships with Europe, perhaps UK should consider some of those partnerships as well. Semiconductors are no future telecoms. 2023 happened to be the year of Japan G7 presidency, and Japan's administration was placing a focus on the semiconductor strategy, including billions of pounds of investment in incentivize foreign semiconductor manufacturers and or billions of pounds in funding for domestic research and development aimed at establishing a domestic supply of cutting-edge semiconductor chips. Let's stop here and let's progress and let's take a look at the next article. There is a way to reach out to any of the partners as of now, right? There's a lot of things happening when it comes to Royal Mail. So I have read it yesterday. I have read different article, right? So that would be publications by some of the news, some of the developments. But let's take a look at the government's press release that the Royal Mail remains based in UK deal to bolster key services. Most likely, the contract is for next 5 years to remain based in UK. This anyway, government reaches legally binding agreement with EP Group that protects Royal Mail's workers and all key services whilst keeping it headquartered in UK. Agreement, I believe, again, who knows if that information was accurate. It would have to remain in UK for next 5 years. At least this is what I have read yesterday, but anyway. Business Secretary reached agreement with the Royal Mail's prospective new owner after its latest example of governments working hand in hand with private sector to improve crucial public services. Agreement blocks government's plan for change, creating the strong foundation needed in the backs, not blocks, foundation needed in the Britain's supply chain to kickstart economic growth and or deliver for workers. The entire contract is more complex. We barely scratching the surface, by the way, by entire contract, as well as government, how much of the control government is looking to keep of entire project. That would be Royal Mail by keeping its name. There's so many things, as well as it was in something I have read yesterday. It was defined as a golden ticket when it comes to control of the company, right? And but I'm interested in the government gonna highlight some of those points. But anyway. Deal protects workers on all key services while seeing Royal Mail continue to be headquartered in Britain, securing jobs and no tax receipts in the UK. Business Secretary, let's skip name, that would be, has today 16th of December, today's date, received legally binding commitment from a Royal Mail bidder. There is, let's skip name, that are interested in securing the long-term sustainability future of Royal Mail while protecting crucial services for millions of customers across UK. The significant agreement between the Department for Business and Trade and all interested bidder, I guess, since have it been signed? I don't think it has been signed already, but anyway. EP Group contains commitment that protects and all secures investment in Royal Mail postal network, which is important to everyone from small business owners in Southampton to online shoppers in Shetland. Sure, okay. It's actually very, very important, right? But anyway, let's progress. These commitments deliver some of the government's plan for change, kickstarting economic growth by providing stability to national institutions that strengthens the foundation of British domestic supply chain and all delivers better public service to people across the whole country. In other words, definition for that would be how far and how dense some of those Royal Mail or postal services are across entire UK. There is a distance between each and how far people would need to travel so they could post anything. It would be, I can't remember all the numbers, so that would be perhaps 10 minutes walk between each Royal Mail, and as well as every town might need to have access to postal services. But I don't know how profitable some of those services can be, if that's some of the requirements. But once that has been said, right? There's some documents published somewhere. If people are interested, you can do some research to find out all exact numbers, right? It recognizes the importance of Royal Mail and all iconic national institute. The government has negotiated golden share. That's a share that I have read about, right? Which will ensure that it was golden ticket, but anyway, golden share, but anyway, which will ensure that with every limited exception, the headquarters of Royal Mail cannot be moved abroad, and Royal Mail cannot change where it pays its taxes, in either case without the government's approval. These restrictions will apply to any further owners of Royal Mail NO alongside other commitments to the brand NO, CIFR, Secure Royal Mail's identity as all iconic British institutions will also follow it to operate as a future private company without day-to-day government interference. EP Group has also committed to honor any new agreements entered into with postal unions, recognizing that workers should be placed at the heart of sustainability of Royal Mail. After months of constructive engagement, these legally binding commitments were voluntarily offered by EP Group in recognition of the significant contribution of Royal Mail makes to Britain's national identity and all importance that it has in everyone's life in the UK. Millions of small businesses and consumers across the country rely on Royal Mail for everything from magazines to medicine deliveries, which is why protecting its future following any takeovers is critical. The commitment we have offered includes significant financial safeguards, including assurance around financial investments and no restrictions of other extractions linked to financial statements of the Royal Mail business and all achievements of specific services level standards. Today, EP Group has also announced that it has reached negotiations agreements with union representatives for Royal Mail workforce. The government welcomes the negotiations agreement and it confident that the constructive and all collaborative approach between unions and the buyer can represent the restart for Royal Mail. Okay. Entire subject is very complex. I don't know if anyone can discuss important bits of the contract as of now. We're touching on it, but we're not, not necessary. There is by the way, I haven't read any of this information right, so I'm not looking misrepresent what's happening. I'm looking to understand it as well as there was some information published yesterday, as well as what we're reading right now. It's government press release, and I don't know if contract has been signed, and there might be some changes. I know there might be a number of drafts of agreement, right? But anyway, summary: EP Group, DBT, deed of undertaking institutional stability. That will be a significant commitment to provide certainty of Royal Mail's any IDE's position as a UK business include amending Royal Mail articles of association. Okay, that might be very technical. I don't know if people are interested in that. It might be important for people who would be interested in similar contracts. Most likely, not that many people interested in this kind of information. We can break it down, perhaps, and rephrase it. I will not touch on important parts, right? A lot of actions would be automated. Automation would need a lot of people having a background when it comes to technology and understanding how predictive analytic works, as well as perhaps energy and energy costs, since running some of those data centers, all these kind of things, right? So that would be two very important parts, right? Energy cost as well as technology automation, right? As well as movement and alternative ways of shipment, all these kind of things, right? So that would be very important parts, as well as other companies across Europe currently taking a look at these markets, right? And when it comes to energy prices, would be key area, which is not necessarily being discussed in this article. Energy prices and alternative energy sources, and how to operate some of the services profitable. That's important part. Once that's been said, let's take a look at the next article. Let's take a look at the next article. That read devolution by default to create new era of local power. Yesterday we were taking a look at some of those contracts I signed with trans-Pacific agreement, comprehensive trans-Pacific partnership agreement. I believe that might be a name of the agreement. When it comes to devolution, I know how some of those decisions would be affected. Not necessarily would be overseen by central government, but perhaps by local government, as well as that particular agreement, and how it would be broken down into different regions and how much value that would be able to generate. Perhaps running some of those systems, right, in particular when it comes to finances, might be very important. Anyway, that would be landmark English devolution white paper set to unleash power of Whitehall back to local communities that know the areas the best. I'm just looking to understand it, right, as well as it will be published today. Some of the bullet points would be devolution revolution to be set out in the landmark English devolution white paper, unleashing power from Whitehall back into communities that know the areas best. I would like to see a smaller government, perhaps 20% of the current size. How we can reduce government as well as cost of government. Great, if we could do it, perfect. If I wouldn't say it, I don't understand what all this about. Since the running cost of having such a big government, it would cost more and more over time, right? Anyway, majors will be equipped to give growth and improve living standards as a part of the government's plan for change. Greater devolution is a key way to kickstart economic growth, put more money in people's pockets, and put politics back in this service of working people. Perhaps if they had some system, right, where they can log in with their IDs and they can vote on very important decisions, right, without the need of government or similar systems. Since cybersecurity, all these kind of things would be very important, right? Significant plans to make devolution the default setting across the range of government policy areas as part of English devolution white paper will be announced today, 16th of December, today's date, by Deputy Prime Minister. In a speech to audience of regional majors, local governments and all business leaders, the Deputy Prime Minister will say that the proposed English devolution white paper will put English region center stage as the deliverer of the government's mission to grow the economy and all milestone of building 1.5 million homes. We were taking a look at 2% as of now being achieved in 6 months, but anyway, and will boost opportunity across the country. Measures expected to be announced later today, including plans for new powers for major across the strategic planning, giving the ability to guide infrastructural development across areas, housing, transport, and more skills. This is part of the government's long-standing commitment to devolution, pushing more powers out of Westminster into the hands of people with skin in the game who knows the areas the best. That's never happens, by the way. What I was discussing is revolution or something, right? If government actively is looking to give some of that control away, it seems unreasonable. But anyways, so this is what they're saying that they're doing, right? The English devolution white paper has been anticipated following the government's clear intention to transfer powers out of Whitehall since the being in office. The government has already approved the devolution deal in Greater Lancashire Hall, East Yorkshire, Devon and North Torby and North Lancashire. The full proposal will be set out in the white paper due to be published in Parliament today. Great. If it will happen, that would be great. They might have a lot of teams as well as might be ongoing process where they might be looking for people to express their interest, take part, and all. They might have seats at the board, all these kind of interesting things, I guess. But it depends. Usually, when it comes to reaching out to any of those mentioned areas and all engaging with teams, sometimes it could be response. The teams would be able to respond. Sometimes, not necessary. Anyway, let's progress. This video would be too long if we would cover everything in necessary detail, right? But briefly, UK amended international trademark rules to allow partial replacement. That the UK has updated the trademark legislation to allow for partial replacement of domestic trademarks with international regions under the Madrid system. There might be a piloted system as of now when it comes to having a system where people can interact and or submit patents most likely or trademarks, all these kind of things. And currently all the system has been tested, right? Hopefully we can see that very soon. Once that's been said, let's take a look at the next article. That would be environmental agency gas its nets out for fisheries improvement projects. That would be up to 820,000 is being made available to help projects across and enhance their local fisheries. That would be interesting, since there might be a lot of things that we were taking a look at fines, right? So people, since we're taking a look at this area, people need to make sure they have necessary permits to operate when it comes to casting nets or fishing, everything permits, and doing it properly and legally, all these kind of things, right? Once that's been covered, let's take a look at the next article. Last article that would be, I believe it might be 2 weeks ago, and we were taking a look at strategic defense budget review. I think that was definition. And there was some feedback where people can submit or perhaps offer some feedback, and there have been some consultations, right? Perhaps some of the factors include economy and economist performance when it comes to UK, since for military services, for UK to have a very strong economy would be important. By having strong economy, UK can allocate 2.5% to military spending, only when having strong economy. Once that has been said, it would be one of the important factors. Economy itself cannot perform without military personnel. Military personnel would be how well any government is looking after its military personnel. As of now, some of the data would suggest that about 300 people are leaving every month. Hopefully, we can reverse that trend. And currently, government is taking a look at housing market. So that would be for every person serving for military. Perhaps the government can offer some housing, and it's only 2%. So government most likely is working on it, and hopefully there would be more work done when it comes to looking after its armed forces. Right? I haven't read this article, but there is a process in place for people perhaps to engage with veteran UK MOD gov.uk, and all. Perhaps if not right now, in the future there might be a lot of initiatives. Right? Let's close that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.